I'm Chris.
And I'm Jen, and we're part of Mini Jini Customs. We are Mini Jini Customs.
And you're watching Planetary Diary?
The making of a fan series.
Hey everyone, welcome to a Planetary Diary. I'm your host, Eric Moran. Today we have a special episode going on. I had the luxury of being able to be made as an action figure or a created, custom-made, inspired Funko Pop figure. If you guys haven't seen it already, it's on Twitter, it's on my social media platforms. This is the figure right here, and you guys slowly can see it. This is it right here. Everyone on social media has been asking me, where did I get the figure? How can I get a figure done? And it was so many questions and so many people were excited about it and all that I decided to take it one step further. And that is to have the actual creators of the company, Mini Jini. And so today I have the pleasure of having both the creators of Mini Jini, Chris and Jenny from Mini Jini. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Good. Really good.
So you guys, how did you guys get started? Where did it all start from?
Yeah, so I've always been a collector, Funkos. I've been collecting them since they were pretty much produced and they started coming out. And I've also been a big fan of Masters of the Universe since I was a little kid. And I've just always collected. And one day I was complaining to her about the lack of, just different characters, even diversity in Motu. And I told her I had like 3 or 4 characters if she would do them. And I showed her a picture of Anti-Eternia He-Man, Hellspawn He-Man, because I'd been seeing him online a lot for a couple years. And I was like, I want them to make these. And she's been doing art since
forever.
Yeah. And I kind of begged her for like months, and she finally was like, all right. And she did it, and she did so amazing. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. And so she did, 2 or 3, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah, it kind of went from there. Like we started with, I think this was the first one I did,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the Anti-Eternia guy. And I hope I've got him up there right. And then from there, so this is when things really blossomed. So we made this wonderful guy right here after Demetrius, right? And then I was like, I wonder if he would like this. And I thought I'll see if I can figure out who he is and send him a picture of it. And he may never respond, but if he likes it, that's really cool. So I was like, I'm just gonna try. I didn't even tell him I was doing it. So I went and I was looking at it. I was like, okay, he's on Instagram, cool. And I was like, well, I'll just send him a little picture of it. And I didn't even expect, usually, you do that and nobody ever says anything or whatever. And he was just like, whoa, this is awesome. And then we started talking, and I was like, what? And I was like, Chris, look at this. I sent him this and he loves it. And then he started posting, and then we started getting orders for those, and it's just gone from there really fast. And now, we did that. And then I did some of my little ice cream guys, which are just like originals, my little ice cream people. But it's just blossomed from there. And now we're making these with the Kedner's in charge and you've been awesome.
For a lot of people that don't know, I was introduced to Mini Jini through my buddy Demetrius, who does He-Man. When I'm not doing the Orville stuff, I do cosplay and everything else. So we have a group, Masters Universe group, where I cosplay as Skeletor. And so I just recently did Skeletor last year. That was more in tune to the animated 2000 animated series. I reached out to Jenny and said, look, I have this idea. I want to do a custom line of figures that covers my entire career and all the things I've done. And the next thing you know, we started sending pictures. We were like basically talking back and forth, communicating and everything else. So it has been great. Take us through the process for both of you guys when you're putting together for a customer. If someone came to you, what is the process for both of you? Because both of you guys work together as a team, both you and Jenny. Take me through the process. What do you guys like, step by step? What do you guys normally do?
I would say, first step, we want to get as much info as we can. Mm-hmm. And so we normally just have, we ask, where they're from, who this is for. Is it for them? We want pictures, we want info. Normally she does the pop. She does the pop first.
Yeah. So one thing that a lot of people I'll say to put out there, since people will be watching, a lot of times people will send me a message and just say how much the custom pop, and I'm like, well, what are you looking for? They're like, a custom pop, and I'm like, well, yes, but what kind of custom? So it's super important that we know like exactly what you want. Like, is it your friend Frank and you want to make him look like, you know, whoever from a movie or whatever, or is it your own cosplay? Is it just an idea you have? So like real specifics. And then he and I sit together and we look for like, we get base pops and build from them. So we'll look at different Funkos and be like, well, what could we take apart? What can we, you know, sculpt onto? And we do that whole process together. And then we get them in. I start on everything of boiling them, taking them apart, rebuilding, sculpting, painting, and all that. And then this guy does all the box magic, which is like fantastic. He's also my symmetrical eye because I'm, as an artist, like we're not always the most symmetrical or looking at things. And he looks at it and he'll be like, no, this is slightly off. You need to fix this and this, and helps me like make sure everything's absolutely perfect. So, and you want to walk through your box?
Yeah. And I would say just with, you know, like what she said, the thing with the quote, the thing that makes it so different is some pops, you know, we only need 1 or 2. Sometimes, I think we did 1 and we needed 4 pops to make it.
Yeah, we have to take them all apart.
And because sometimes sculpting certain things, we want to make sure it looks as close to what a Funko Pop would look like, you know? So, you sometimes can't get that full effect sculpting. So that's one thing that we really concentrate on, is getting as close to what it would look like if Funko, you know, pump this thing out.
Yeah, because I could make, if somebody wanted me to make whatever, I could sculpt them, anything. But the thing with the Funko is that it still looks and feels like a Funko Pop. So you're not just getting just like a statue basically. So we go and we take them all apart, put them out together, and I, like I said, I sculpt on each one individually. I always want people to know that we don't 3D print. I don't have molds, so I literally just do all of it by hand for each individual pop, which is great though, because I don't want molds, because I want to make sure every time it's individualized. Even if I'm making a replica, it's still like, if I'm making 2, like if somebody ordered your Skeletor, that Skeletor would be very specific. He'll look just like him. You might find something small, but it's just because each one's done individually. Yeah. So.
And then when she's finished, you know, that's when I start the box normally. I usually wait till she's done, because the biggest part of a Funko box is the character model, which what the actual pop looks like. And there's 2 things. I either take a really, you know, high def picture of the pop and I work with that, or I build it from an existing, you know, picture that Funko's already made. That one's only possible if it's something that it's maybe a different paint job. Most of the time I have to use the pop, because some of the stuff she does it's really hard to recreate in Photoshop. It's hard to photograph it. Yeah, it's hard for me to recreate it in Photoshop. There's been a few Destiny pops she's done, and I'm like,
Destiny pops are difficult. Yeah. I like the challenge, but I'm like, whoa.
And so then, you know, I make the box. We get it printed, we cut it, and we build it by hand. We put it together and we ship it out.
Yeah.
So guys, because again, the detail that you put in, all the work that you put in, when I got them, the detail work, the time that you put in, I mean, normally how long, when you're doing like this kind of project, like I know like sometimes you're doing the single ones, like how long does a process like that normally take? Because a lot of people sometimes, you know, like what we tried to do with my wife, who's also one of the cast members, who plays as like Dr. Lori Green on a Planetary Step. It was our anniversary. So you guys took the time to put together in time for my anniversary, her wedding figure down to the wire. I was like really blown away. I was really impressed. How long does normally that process take for you guys for like a single figure?
If I was like just to have the day to myself, a single figure, I can do, it breaks up into days because of drying processes and stuff. And when I sculpt those, most of them, it's not a dry unless I'm using epoxy. Sometimes I use Sculpty clay. So when I do that, it has to be baked. So it's a little bit quicker. But between taking them apart and then sculpting, that's usually a couple of hours. And then so I'd say I typically try to wind it down to saying it's about 4 hours per piece, but that's not always true, because then I've got days in between and other pops I'm working on. I try to work on 4 or 5 or 6 at a time. But I'd say it takes about probably 4 hours to get the pops set up over a few days. And then I got to let her dry. I got to have good weather, because I have to prime them to get them ready to paint. So I have to do a spray primer on them. Then I paint them, they got to dry from that. And then after that, I have to take them and seal them. And that requires no moisture. So if it's raining outside, because it's so fumey to do that sealant, I do that outdoors. So if it's raining, sometimes it delays. The only other thing that adds a delay is if what I need for a specific pop takes a while to get to me. So if I order something I need for it and due to shipping delays, it doesn't get to me for a week, then I can't get started for a week. If it's next day, or within a couple of days, I can get started right at that moment. So a lot of the time span when I give people a 2 to 3 week window, as long as I'm not like piled up with a lot of orders, it's just because I'm trying to give room for me to get what I need and have it delivered if I can't go out and get it myself. And then for like weather delays or shipping delays.
Can we show like some of the stuff you had with you guys? I know you wanted to show some of the work you've done.
Yeah. I could do some of my big boys.
Yes, I love the big boys.
I call them big boys. I just think it's a cute name. But so like just as a size comparison too, I've got like our little guy here, and then here's our big boy, the 10-inch ones.
Nice.
And so we'll take like for these guys, they're kind of, this one here was a little bit easier because I'll take like the Funko regular big boy He-Man, the 10-inch, and then I did like a repaint on him.
Nice.
So, and I'm really picky on my paints. So I use like a real high quality paint, and I'm really picky on my brushes, because I've tried some different paints as we were playing around with this, and just you've got to have a really good paint, and you've got to have some really good brushes. I don't do any airbrushing on them. I'm getting ready to play around with that some. So they're all just hand painted. Even like their base coat, like if he's blue, I don't spray paint him blue. He's hand painted blue, hand painted that solid black. This guy's my favorite right now because he actually drilled screws into his head. So we really got to play around and sculpt on him.
Wow.
So he's so fun. I love him.
She was doubtful of that. I literally, right when she was done,
to talk me into
I walked in, I went out to our garage and I grabbed like 3 or 4 screws, and I walked in with my drill, and I was like, all right, we're going to put some screws in this guy. And she's like,
I was like, please,
like,
no. You're going to ruin him. Don't do it.
And I said, trust me, I swear to God, it's going to look really cool. And so we did it. And she's like, oh yeah, it does look really cool.
Yeah.
So.
And then I'll show these guys, and then I'll show one more too, but I'll step away to go grab him. But
yeah,
this is my first one I've ever flocked. So flocking, some people are like, what is flocking? But if you're familiar with Funkos, you probably already know what it is. Mm-hmm. And it's like a really fine, whatever material you want. Usually it's fabric or like a little velvety velour feeling stuff, but it's so hard to find online, the proper flocking material. But that's our Moss Man. And we built him from, if you can grab him, we used a beast man to work with him, and just took him apart, sculpted his little beat down mace.
Yeah.
And my favorites are the Skeletors, just because I'm a Skeletor fan anyways.
Yes.
I absolutely love Skeletor.
Yeah.
So I think he's not only is he just mean, but he's funny. So.
Yes. So guys, for those who don't know, I want to share with you guys something exclusive that no one else knows, but you guys today are going to find out exclusively what's going on. Not only did they do my Captain Gerald figure, but they also are doing the whole entire main cast of a Planetary Step. So exclusively, you guys are the first ones to see some of the images of the cast of a Planetary Step. And so when you guys had to put that together, because it was like basically you guys did that within a couple of weeks. I sent you guys the pictures of the cast members and all. Like, again, how did that go? Like, how did you go about that? Like, how was that for you putting that together?
We got to ordering right away. And luckily we were able to find everything we needed really well. One funny side note with making Dr. Lori Green, I was also working on her anniversary one. So it was cool. So I'm like, let me get 2 of these girls because she's got awesome hair like her. So I knew right away that was like, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm cheating because I have, I already know who to get. But yeah, we just jumped on it and I just got to work. I worked on them all at the same time. So I'd like pick up one and be like, okay, let's get your shirt going. Now your shirt, and then keep going in a line. So
yeah, and the detailing. I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I would say the difference between the cast and doing your pops, your set, yours we did mainly going into Christmas. Yours took a little bit longer, mainly just because one, it was the first time we'd done like 5 separate for somebody, and also just getting them in with Christmas. It was like one of those things where there was a little bit of delay, not only with shipping, but also, us, being a family. And I would say getting the boxes together was a little bit of a challenge at first, but then it was.
Yeah, we had just started playing around with that. So now that he's so good with it, because I was all like, oh yes, I went to school for animation. I did Photoshop. And I was like, that's been so many years. I don't know Photoshop. And he's like, I'll figure it out. And he did like this. So he was just like right on it. But once we got the boxes figured out and where to get them printed, it was like a quicker process. So there was a lot of like trial and error there at first.
Yeah, I work full time, so I normally do the boxes on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So like your boxes, the 5 that we did for you, and 6 because your wife. That I think I did 3 in 1, 3 in 2 or 3 in 1 day, and then the next day. So I'll dedicate like, my entire day to it sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the box is tough, and it can take me 4 or 5 hours for one box, just because I've got to do so many different tweaks to it and resizing. Yours, I did take a little extra time on, especially you and your wife's, just because I told her I wanted it to be able to come together and make that picture. So that was like the thing I really wanted, because I thought, let's make his individualized and hers, but also connected.
Yeah, when he told me about that, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Yeah. I was like, that's so awesome. But yeah, like you said, we are a family. So there's times where sometimes, we'll be happy to get other things done and whatnot. But and like a process usually too, like I'll be up as early as I can. And my whole morning is like, for the first 4 hours of my day, it's pops. And then if I can, in the middle of the day, I come back in. It's been like an hour or 2 on pops. So we every day I work on them. And then we get, like I said, he gets like boxes done through the weekend. Yep. So it's kind of wild because with with COVID and times like era now, I was in a position where I wasn't working, and it was kind of fortunate I had the time to do this stuff now. Now it's kind of fallen into like work, which is awesome. But yeah, it's been really fun.
So guys, before we end this interview, there's a couple more things I want to ask you. One of the things is, how can people go about wanting to order Mini Jini figures? Because some people who may love these figures want to order like a Captain Gerald, or they might want to order a Hellspawn. And also, if they want to get their own custom made, what do they have to do, and how would they contact you?
Obviously, you can hit us up on Instagram at Mini Jini Customs, Facebook, and I think even our email. You can, we've had a few people hit us up through there.
Yes, Mini Jini Customs at gmail.com.
Yeah, I think that the one thing is, for most of them, we're willing to do them again. I'm sure if someone hits us up about a Planetary Step one or one of your cosplays, obviously, we would reach out and be like, hey, just let someone wants to get one of you. Is that cool? We had someone, we did that Prince one. Yeah. And someone reached out and wanted the same Prince one that we had done. So what we thought was the right thing to do was reach back out to the first person who bought it and say, hey, we just want to ask you if you think that is it okay? If you say no, we won't do it. And he was like, no, it's cool. I'd love that someone wants the same one I did. So so then we did that.
Yeah, so we always make sure, because if somebody wants a specific custom, and they just wanted it for them, of course I don't want to recreate it. So like if somebody reached out for, can I get one of Smoke's wife in a wedding dress? No, you cannot. That's theirs.
Yeah.
But like Skeletor and He-Man and stuff, definitely. But yeah, you just got to message us. Please be specific. And we just send you like a few generic questions.
Anyone who wants to place an order, first off, just to let everyone know out there, if you want to place an order for any of my figures and all, these guys got the green light. They have my blessing. The only one you can't get is the wedding one or the United States Marine one. But any one of them, you can go for broke. Planetary Step figures, definitely, if you guys want to order one, definitely talk to Mini Jini, and they'll place an order, and we will personalize it, autograph it for you guys, and everything else. And the one thing is, the communication is amazing. Jenny was like corresponding with me back and forth. It was awesome, because she was keeping me updated on every step and asking me if I wanted something like this or something like that. The box details, as you guys will see in the picture, the details of the boxes, Chris does an amazing job, down from the pictures to the backdrops. If it's a specific backdrop you want, these guys can do it for you inside the box. And you guys will see pictures of this. These guys will give you the ultimate detail for an ultimate inspired Funko style figure. Again, I cannot stress you guys, if you ever wanted to have yourself immortalized in a Funko world, in the Funko universe, this is the way to go. Mini Jini is the way to go. And you also do mini ones, don't you? You do mini
Well, we
ones?
do like the regular, and I haven't played around with real teeny ones yet. I'm more than happy to try to make some. I think would be really cool. We have the regular size Funko Pops, which are, what are they? Like the
3.5.
Yeah, just do a regular standard size like you see everywhere. And then we do the custom big boys, but I'm game to try out new stuff all the time. So I haven't done any little tiny ones yet, but that doesn't mean I won't. So I just haven't had anybody ask about it. I did have somebody recently ask about getting a Funko, like getting a Mini Jini custom made of themselves and then a little pet with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can definitely do that. The only thing I would say is important for people to know is that although we do make our boxes, we don't have the ability to make actual inserts. So we have to get inserts of ones that match up really well for them. And we are not at a point of making boxes for like more than one of our customs to fit in yet. Yeah. So it's like we only do boxes for the regular size ones right now, like our He-Mans and your Skeletor and everything. Yeah. The 10-inch ones, we haven't played around with that yet. So I want to put that out there so everybody knows. Some things we can't quite get to just yet, but maybe, who knows what will be.
With your wife's pop, we had to adjust the insert, trim and, heat it up just because
like to heat them up.
Her hair was pretty big.
It's fabulous.
It was big. I remember when she showed it to me, I thought it was amazing. And then when we started, in the beginning, I was like, this is amazing. And then boxing it, I was like, I hate you.
He always gets frustrated with me in the boxing process. He's like,
I was like,
the
hair is just too big. And she's like, but it looks fine. I was like, I know. I was so mad. So.
He's like, I gotta fix this, fit it in here. And I'm like, well, she's glamorous, so you make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, by the way. And the Captain Gerald. Well, all of them, honestly. I love making all of them, but those two are really cool to make and just get the detail and get his little emblem on them. And making her wedding dress, I probably went through 5 different sculpts just wanting to make sure I got as close as I could to the ruffles and all. And then I'm like, I need gems. And then I was like, I need a veil. And like, this girl's going to be sassy. Yeah. So it was so fun to go in and really look at those details.
Yeah. You know what I found funny? Ton of fun making the boxes too.
Yeah. Well, what I found funny was when you did the picture of her hands on her hip. Did I send you that picture?
No. So that was really crazy because when you sent it to me after, I was like, I'm officially psychic. Like, it was so crazy.
Because for those who don't know, and you'll see the side by side picture, there's a picture of my wife in her wedding gown at our wedding, and she has her hands on her hips. When Jenny made when these guys made the figure, Jenny and Chris made the figure, I was blown away because I was like, oh my God, that's actually her pose. And I remember sending you guys a picture. I'm like, and it was a side by side, and my wife was, when I showed her, she was like, "Oh my God!" It was one of her little poses, one of her little cute little poses and everything. And so I was just like, "Wow!" I was really blown away, and the attention to detail. I remember you were like, "I want to get her veil right," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you got her veil!"
Yeah, I was like, "She needs a pearl necklace."
Yes, even the way. How can I say? My wife she's very voluptuous. You even got that down, and
I was like, let's give this girl some volume.
I cracked on her the whole time she was doing it.
He was like, what are you making?
I saw her making it, and then she's like, I walked over, I was like, oh, that's what you're making. Okay. I
was like, well, she needs to look good, okay?
I told her, I was like, do you need help? And she's like, no. I was like, okay.
Again, guys, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys coming on here, talking about the company, talking about everything that you guys have done. You guys do amazing work. And so, again, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. Let everyone know where they can find you so people will know.
Okay. And before I even do that, I want to thank you as well, because above and beyond, it's been amazing. I couldn't believe you did that extra little TikTok thing on there. I was like, what? This man's amazing. And that whole video, like, I legit was just like, I was floored. I was like, that's amazing. So thank you. And thank you for having us on here. But definitely Instagram, Mini_Jini, right? Is that the correct term for it?
I think it's Mini Jini
_ Customs. Yeah. Okay. And then Facebook, we have our Mini Jini Customs there too. And then you can always email us too. But if you go to Instagram, you can see, or Facebook, you can see everything first and make sure you like what we're doing. But yeah, you can always email us too at minijinicustoms@gmail.com. There's no underscores or anything. It's just minijinicustoms@gmail.com.
So guys, thank you again for being on, coming on the show. And thank everyone out there. If you guys like what you see, hit subscribe, hit like, tell your friends, tell your family. And again, I want to thank everyone out there who supports this show and everyone out there who supports great talent. Make sure you support all the other great content creators dealing with their fandom for the world of the Orville. And as I always end every episode, make every step you take a planetary one. We'll see you next week.